Racing's GT4 series once again for round 4 here at the Sugo racetrack. I am Cypher Knight 77.
And I am Kieran McGinley. Looking forward to this one. Cypher, I've never been here before, but I'm sure you know much more about the circuit than I do. We had an argument whether it was 12 or 13 corners, but you proved me right. It's definitely 13 corners.
Well, I've raced here plenty of times back in the academy days as well as LMP3. But it's quite the small track. It's deceptively small, actually. Well, more narrow, as you can see on board Joe here.
I'm pretty sure I did one career mode race at Sugo, and that's how memorable it is. It's, from the looks of it, your best chance of overtaking is through the first sector. Do you agree with that, Cypher?
Both the first and arguably down this long back straight here, coming into around turn 9 actually. We might see some overtakes from some of the more higher powered cars, but more so speaking, you spend a little bit more time actually turning the wheel than you do on the gas here. It's a short track, so it means more laps for all these guys. As you see already a little bit of not playing nice from some of the drivers there.
Yeah, a little bit of racing in practice, so that's a new one. See there, Joe, look at the toe then. We head down towards turn 1.
We have roughly a full field today. We're just waiting on Alex, who should be coming back, but as we go throughout the field, pretty much everyone who is there, who we know and love from GT4 is here today, and we hope to see a very good race from all these drivers here today.
Absolutely, but one thing I do worry about is can anybody catch Javier? It's back on there, a little loose. The Aston Martin of Javier had a really good race last time out. Even if it was instant field, he did get tagged from behind, spun around by a back marker, still recovered to win the race. Oh, as Javier gets it wrong!
Ooh, just barely taps it.
Just about kicks out the wall. It's turn 11 there, but luckily for him it's free practice, so the only thing that's really damaged is his pride there.
Yeah, Sugo is a deceptively difficult track, as you can see in Sector 3 especially. These drivers will be looking to get everything out of the corners here. However, this track has been known to eat away at some of the weaker competition here.
Red then coming through the chicane.
Ooh, just gets it all wrong in the gravel. Yeah, it's definitely a track where if you put your foot down a little too hard, you could risk a little bit of oversteer coming off some of these corners. We see roughly around most of these corners taking around 60 to around 90 miles per hour in some of the tighter corners, but it's quite a low-speed track, at least through sectors 1 and a little bit of sector 2 at the end of it.
There's Cricker, who's already found the wall today, and it looks like he's hit it quite hard. Front and left-hand side bodywork damage. But and he's on the right-hand side as well, so he's hit the wall hard and basically collected all parts of the car with him.
Well,
I did see a lot of those plastic barriers that were on the inside there. You can just see on the track map on the left-hand side of it is that little chicane area. Obviously, you get those plastic blocks that cut the circuit off. And you were telling me, Cypher, that if somebody hits those, it can cause a bit of carnage.
Well, that's just from past experience. Yes, if the drivers do, or if someone does takes the corner a little too tightly, then they risk hitting that and causing major damage to the front of the car, and also for anyone who might be driving behind that person. So it'll be a little bit of a group effort for all these guys to not hit that. But now that I've said it, someone will probably hit that.
I believe that's what we call Sod's Law. Is what we call that. But there's Ryan Ruby, the orange KTM, making his way now through turns 12 and 13. damage to the rear there. Oh, that's KTM in the background getting a little bit out of shape there. To keep it together there. But which car could you see?
Well, Ryan already setting second place, the highest the KTM's ever been on the practice sheet so far, at a 1:27.8. I'm usually pretty optimistic for the KTM's. I honestly do think they can show up at a track like this where there's a lot of low-speed corners. Now, I've been proven wrong before, clearly, with some of the more high-end cars of the Porsche and the Aston Martin, but I think they can be quietly confident about this track here today, as Bowie is currently the pace setter. Javier sets in a 1:26.4, so he's finding his pace slowly.
Let's have a look at others around the field. You see Alex there not being able to connect to the session, but let's tune in qualifying. You can see that's Janetta off the track. Probably just getting out of the way of his teammate All-Star. He makes his way now towards the start-finish line. So lap time with All-Star is setting, and it's actually no lap time at all.
Yes, since this is a very narrow track, lap traffic will find it a little bit difficult to get out of the way for some of these faster guys. You almost kind of end up putting yourself in the grass if you try to give the person a little too much room, so that'll be interesting to watch out for later today.
Absolutely. But GTS is one of those drivers who might be feeling the pressure slightly. 4 rounds in, Javier has had 2 wins this season already. And GTS, well, he might start to be thinking he's got to pull his weight, because in the Constructors or the Team Championship, they're currently second place, GTS and Javier.
Well, GTS is coming off of his best finishing position of the season off last week, so he'll definitely be trying to catch up. He's shown some promise, definitely at Daytona as one example. He just needs to finish it off, and I think he can have something to be proud of. But I believe that's Adam off track there in the other Aston Martin. The time seemingly quite, well, I guess the proper word would be, they're not as close as from some of the other tracks this season. Definitely a lot more disparity between the midfield cars. Have around 3rd through 7th place in the 1:27s right now, with 8th and behind falling off significantly after that. So we might see a little bit more of a stretched out race, concerning this is definitely more of a driver track.
As we see then in the free practice, just entering the last 60 seconds then, Bowie's on the top of the table right now, and whether Javier is sort of not, but as you can see there, Bowie almost 800th of a second faster than his previous lap, so the prediction, so if it could be true, the KTMs could align with this circuit.
Well, we can never count out Javier and his willingness to bring his Aston Martin into places we thought impossible. As he comes across the line here, slower time, but still in 2nd place. His teammate in 6th place. Slim Sign kinda, well, he's certainly going to try to pull off some sort of upset, as well. He's in the grass right now, but Slimsign hasn't exactly had the best track record compared to the other KTMs, so he'll be looking to maybe kind of show off, and maybe he can be the top KTM this race.
Well, it's going to be a good race, that's for sure. And with the checker flag now out for free practice, Julian then hoping for his 2nd race of the season, going a little bit better than his first. He was off track a couple of times first round and ended up not finishing the race. As he now comes up towards the line, in is Janetta. And well, to finish first you must finish, Cypher. Julian comes across the line then, can he improve on his time? No, he can't. So that's practice just really done and dusted then. Javier still on a lap as he rounds the final corner. Bowie now coming around the lap then, so just check the flag. Javier might get a little bit of run here behind the stricken Porsche. So now makes his way up the hill towards the start finish line. Can he get any quicker? No, he can't. Still 6 tenths down.
By the way, if you're wondering where Becaratis is, we believe Cricker is his replacement for this race, so he'll be alongside Red in order to kind of keep the Porsche in its consistency. We've seen this team have consistent podium and winning race potential, so it'll be quite interesting. But this is your practice session top 3. Bowie being the first to displace Javier off the top of the practice sheets. Red in 3rd place, showing the ever-consistent Porsche team. Slim Sign and Husa also doing well, and GTS in 6th place. So then, who are you thinking is going to come out of qualifying the best?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a tricky one, I think. Certainly interesting to see as Crazer's already coming out with a damaged car. That can't look right. Surely not.
Well...
Okay, maybe the team has discovered some new aero techniques. Maybe they think this is a faster way to get around the track. Who knows?
I mean... Well, it's certainly not helping his downforce, we'll say that much.
He actually gets 2 wheels there going through the chicane, so I wonder, damaged car leaving the pit lane?
Well, I was about to say, if you're first out, then you get first dibs, but on a track like this, where track position is everything, you want to be either first or far away, actually. And I think that the orange KTM, who is in the lead of all these guys, of, I believe Bowie, who will get the first, oh no, that's Bowie right there. Ooh, boy, I'm blind.
Don't worry, I'm blind too, don't worry about it. Let's see. Try and figure out who's at the start of this queue then. So, Crazer. So he's now going to go around the 5. There is Bowie. So in that mid-pack there. Times start something down at the moment. 16 drivers are in qualifying right now. Alex,
it's Ryan who's in front, by the way. I just remembered.
Ryan.
Yes, so Ryan will get the first. It took me a couple minutes. I had to really think hard about an orange KTM, but yes, Ryan will have the first lap of qualifying. 15 minutes to decide it. As you see, went all the way down into 2nd gear, really tight left-hander as you use all the curve, then do the quick left-right chicane, ending off sector 1. It's, well, as you can see from the onboard, it's a very narrow track, so qualifying is all too important here, especially.
So as we make our way now down, so sort of short straight here. Definitely not the longest straight of the circuit, absolutely. Towards the end of sector 2 now, heavy braking zone, and well, there doesn't seem to be many overtaking opportunities. So if you had to pick one, where do you see the drivers overtaking?
Turn 1, and well, probably coming into I think turn 10. No, turn 9 would be the best. Turn 1 and turn 9. So going straight into turn 1 would probably be these best, or at least the guys in the higher powered vehicles would be the best spot to overtake, especially on those areas. But for the guys in the KTMs, they're gonna have to try to find some way to keep whatever position that they can muster here, as Javier sets the first fastest time of the day with the 1:25.2. Bowie goes in 2nd with a 1:25.8. So definitely showing the early pace right now.
Absolutely. See other drivers around the circuit. We've got Red there, currently 2nd place in the championship, only behind by 6 points as well. He's keeping Javier on his toes. To see what sort of lap times he can set. But well, KTM was at the top of the standings in practice. So now he runs a little bit onto the grass there. Turn 8. The car stopped on the side there. That's the, I think that's Crazy there, just getting out of the way. I wonder here if Bell was just going for a couple of laps back to back. So now makes its way through turn 9. Comes towards the left hand as we turn 10 and 11 again onto the grass slightly. Seems to recover it onto the curbs. As he now makes his way downhill towards 12 and 13. Let's see. Let's see if this has all been worth it. Staying on board, staying watching Bowie. Let's watch him come into the pit lane now. I bet you anything. He makes his way now up the hill. He's staying out though. 6/10 down on Javier. Can he improve on that lap time? Heads towards the start finish line. No, he can't. Stays second place for now.
Vigo on board Schwami there. Schwami definitely, well, he's had some good races, but he's also had some pretty dreadful races. So we'll be hoping to get in a decent qualifying time. And he's shown some pace, and well, I would call him probably the worst of the Porsches, but that would be a little too mean, because he definitely can put in a good lap here. He's put it all together pretty well so far, so can he pull off a good lap coming into 12 and 13? It's coming around the last corner here, down the front straight, going upwards of 130 miles per hour by the time they reach the start-finish straight. And it will be, I believe his lap was invalidated, so he'll go around this time to set his good lap. As Max Blee and I believe Adam also set their first laps here. So far it's been Javier who set the early pace. However, at least from 4th on down there is a decent chance.
Yeah, until I'm guessing Javier pulls a 124 out of the bag. Comes Julian towards the line and Janetta. No moving in the standings, and so it could have been an outlap. So Bowie there. It's out of the pit lane. To try and improve then 6/10 of a second. And he's got a little bit of red next to his name there. I'm wondering if he's got some sort of penalty.
It might have been for speeding in the pit lanes, actually. See Red just getting it all wrong. He's definitely not going to get that lap in. Yeah, I believe Bowie might have a grid place penalty for speeding in the pit lane, actually, so we'll have to catch up on that at the end of the session. And if that happens, well, that's just going to make his life even worse for him, as we have a huge gaggle of cars heading down the back straight here. Definitely not going to help either one of them, as I believe the Janetta there in front of them of Julian is on the lap there. Julian and Alids, I believe, are on their lap. So neither of them making Bowie's life any easier.
And of course, when you're on your flying lap, there's no obligation to let the car behind you through. You are on your flying lap. Bowie then. And the final 2 corners. He makes his way now uphill towards the start finish line. So now start his flying lap, I do believe. So towards line 6/10 is a little bit to get in these cars, and Julian there sits a 132.
I believe that's All-Star, who jumps up to 6th, I believe. Yes, it is All-Star who jumps up to 6th. So impressive from the Janetta there, actually. Very impressive.
So Julian there is being right up close to his teammate then.
Ooh, All-Star getting it all very wrong, and he's off in the gravel. And that's not where the track goes.
Turn 9, if the cameras pick him up, there he is. This is now through turn 10, into turn 11. So we've got that 6/10 of a second buffer right now. It's way down the hill towards 12 and 13. Amount of fuel, so makes its way now up the hill. Can he extend that gap to Bowie, to Red, to Crater? I think they're up in P4 at the moment. Qualifying session for him so far as Javier makes his way towards the line, and that is a 124.7.
It looks like
to happen eventually.
he hit that on the marker, actually. So can any of these guys respond to his new time?
Yeah, and it's going to be a difficult one as well. 1:24.7. I mean, Bowie has got a good chance of that. It's 1:25.3 is the next fastest lap. Still, no matter what he does, he's still 6/10 slower than Javier right now. Red is on a flying lap, but he's 600th of a second down through the first sector.
And you have a huge gaggle of cars in the first sector, actually. I believe that's a couple cars coming out of the pits, as well as some drivers on their flying lap. Usa has not set in a representative lap yet, but he's no stranger to starting in the back, so... But I don't think he wants to start at the back at this track.
No, absolutely. It's the same for any track. As you see there's a gaggle of cars, as you were talking about, just forming there.
Okay, that's... Yeah, I believe that is Husa swerving to get heat in the tires. Or no, he's still in the pits, so that's his teammate Ryan there, who's setting up for his lap. As, ooh, Janetta goes way off.
He's getting a little bit wrong at turn 9.
Oh, and his teammate, yeah, that's his teammate All-Star, who, I mean, he's in 6th right now, so doesn't have too much to worry, but I believe that's also Slim Sign behind them, who's coming up to make his lap as well.
So two orange KTM's making their way towards the line. Ryan then.
Ryan, no improvement there.
Now just over 4 minutes to go. Javier is still on position pole. Bowie in 2nd. Looks like he has some sort of penalty. Red in 3rd, Fraser 4th. And, I believe that is Cricker in 5th place. It's always difficult when a new driver comes to the series and you have to remember their name for the first 3 letters. It's always going to be a challenge, but I'll do my best, Cricker.
Let's see. GTS up into 7th right now. He's got to find around 2. Well, he's got to find some kind of time if he wants to get anywhere near the top flight once more. I believe it's Ryan behind them also going on their laps as well. But he just kind of gets on the grass there, and it's not going to really help him, and on the gravel, and he sticks into the gravel, as well as Ryan, who also goes in the gravel behind them. So neither one of them helping out each other at all. And oh, that is GTS, who has hit the barriers. And he's back into the pits immediately. And that's just going to put a bunch of debris out on the track.
Here, the 2 teammates are trying to help each other out here. So Ryan now makes his way down towards turn 1. You can see that 2nd car there. Down behind him he's just trying to use that slipstream. Of course, he is 2nd place, and the gap between the 2 of them, let's have a look, is well over 1.5 seconds.
Well, he's definitely not helping now. I believe Bowie might actually want him to get out of the way.
Turn 8 now. We've got no flags on the run down to turn 9. I think that was just a car getting out of the way. Who's still not made his way out onto the track?
He's got time. He's got around 20 more seconds, actually, so he's not out of it yet.
Do you see him move from the pit lane, I wonder? Boy, he's still safely tucked away in the pit lane.
Probably some last-minute adjustments.
Chicane, 5 and 6. I don't know how much more time he can take out. 1:24.7 at the moment, the fastest we've seen. Of course, the GT4 this is the first time around the circuit they've ever been to. So at the moment, Javier is currently the qualifying record holder, if you like. 1:24.7. I wonder if he can go in quicker. Who could pass him?
I mean, don't encourage him. We don't want him to completely smoke the field. But then again,
say Bowie into the pits then, so he's abandoned his lap. And I have to see if that red penalty, maybe it's 1 place, maybe it's 2, we'll have to find out at the end of qualifying. So could potentially put the red up onto the front row of the grid then.
Schwami jumps up to... Sorry, Schwami jumps up to 10th, and Joe also improves his lap. But so far no other changes from near the top 10 spot. And seems like Huso will not come out to make a lap, so once again he will start this race in the very back. I'd say that it was unintentional, but I think this might be part of his strategy now, because he seems to always find a way from the back to the front.
Absolutely, and Alex there not having the best time at all as Ryan stops on track then. Maybe he's just practicing some race starts. Interesting, Barry's gone back out. Not enough time, I think, to set up that time, but quicker there in 5th place.
No, I don't believe Bowie can start another lap.
Comes in, that is Crazer as well, coming back from pits to get Bowie and towards the pit lane as well as he puts the brakes on. But, we've got All-Star then. Looks like he's the last person to set his lap time. He's the only one out on track right now. We might as well stick with him then. 7th place right now, 2.3 seconds off the lead, but 6th place is only just up the road. A 400th of a second, that's all he needs to find. He heads now down towards turn 12 and 13. And make his way up the hill. Can he get any higher than 7th place then? Long run up towards the line, up the hill, moving that gear change as late as possible. All-Star makes his way towards the line. Can he improve on 7th place?
No, I do not believe he can. And so these are your standings. Javier first with a 1:24.7, Bowie second, although I was right, he will start with a 1 grid place penalty, most likely for speeding in the pit lane, and it will be Red who gets elevated up to second actually. And so the grid looks like this: Aston Martin, Porsche, KTM, Aston Martin. It'll definitely be interesting. Short run down to turn 1 this time.
And we've got 37 laps to look forward to as well. This short track. GTSS starting in P8, looking to try and keep his nose clean, as well as Ryan Ruby in 9th place there. Crowther down in P10. There's Schwami in 11th. Then it's the Ford Mustangs of Joe Black and Max Fleet in 12th and 13th. Julian there 14th. And Husa obviously not setting a qualifying lap time, starting from the back of the grid.
Alright, let's make sure to have the speedometer and map up, see what kind of fuel strategies these guys are running. Now, and it seems like Alids will not be able to make the start of this race. Tough break for him once again. But I was told before this race that, at least from Joe Black's perspective, the Mustangs will be able to go quite far in this race. Of course, we don't expect pit stops, but we do expect tire strategies, and we believe that the Mustang can get the most out of its tires for the most part of today's race. But it'll definitely be all to play for, as well you can see right from the driver's perspectives. It's all defined down into turn 1.
I was going to say, Cricket, 44 litres of fuel on board his car. Everybody else is running sort of high 60s, low 70s litres of fuel. So I wonder if he's looking to try and make a pit stop around about halfway through this race. Try and get some low fuel there. Schwami, the most of them so far, 87 litres. Joe Black beats him by 1 at 88. Let's get ourselves to the front, and let's get Cypher on the commentary box then.
Yeah, I believe that's just the capacity of the Mustang. But as we go to 4 red lights, and it's green flag here at Sugo. Javier gets a good start. The Aston Martin of Crazy does not get going, and we already have a crash in the back. I believe that's Slim Sign and Adam, and the Ryan also involved, but so far no major contact. We believe just a little bit of a small contact there, but that has left Slim Sign and Adam left to play for it all. Javier still leads after the first set of turns. Everyone heads into the uphill chicane. All-Star jumps into 5th place, as well as Schwami getting a decent start as well from them. But at the front, it is Aston Martin, Porsche, and KTM. Let's see Swami on the back of Crazy now as they all head down the back straight. We've Red that is fighting. Ooh, as he goes a little bit wide, and that's... Oh no, that's... Ticker's all messed up right now, but All-Star maybe trying to look right here on the back, see if he can get right down into turn 9. Can he make it stick? Yes, he can, and it is up into 4th as that is a blue Aston Martin off in the background. That's Crazy. Yeah, there's a guy I was looking for. Crazy. Who went off in the background of the gravel trap, lost a bunch of time, and there's a Mustang also off, and there's a Janetta of All-Star, I believe, and the other Janetta of Julian also off. And that was Joe who was in the gravel, but he's back into 7th place as they all go through 12 and 13. And it is Aston Martin at the front.
So a good start from Javier then. Red is currently in 2nd place. And he's a little bit really wide, trying to make it happen. Cars getting caught up then.
Slim sign and
Slim sign of All-Star there.
All-Star with a decent starting position, but was not able to hold it. We saw him spin off of around turn 11. But for everyone else, it has been relatively smooth, besides some overheating of the tires, actually. Joe Black has gotten an amazing start. He's up to 7th. Husa not really gotten the best of starts that we've known him for. He's only made it up to 11th, but then again, this is a very hard track to pass at, as I believe that's Maxley going off in front. Yes, so Adam will get back in front of him to go back up front. Red starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Cricker, actually.
As well, he did start 3rd place, down to 4th, but looks like he might have a good run as he tries to go on the inside now. Turn 13, side by side as they head up towards the hill now, and you'd expect the Porsche Power to be able to stay ahead of the KTM now, and he does. KTM has to drop back in, so you can see the KTM not so quickly down the straights, but through the corners. Now he's got a bit of pressure then applying to Cricker. Cricker will be able to stay ahead thanks to that straight line speed.
And that is Red you see fighting Javier just in front of them. Red, no stranger to leading this race. He'll definitely use that Porsche's handling capabilities to try to mount a charge on Javier right now. And GTS, his teammate, has also gotten a decent start. He's up to 5th place. Joe up to 6th, as I believe he passed Swami there. And Maxley also doing really good as well. He is up to 8th, as he is now being hurried and hustled by Adam right behind him. Adam going down into no contact, all fair as well. Maxley will hold on to 8th for now, but he's got a huge train of cars behind him of all makes and brands. You see Husa now trying to mount a charge on Crazy, who was in the gravel a little bit earlier today. He's all the way down near the inside. He'll probably try to cut back outside. He does. Husa just trying to find a way around the outside. KTM versus Aston Martin. He will have the preferred line going into turn 10, and that is up a place into 10th, with Ryan hoping to also capitalize right behind them.
Absolutely, lots of battling happening in these early stages then, as we jump straight back on board with the battle for the lead then. Here comes Red then down towards turn 1. He looked to try and get the inside, but Javier cut him off and is able to hold on to the race lead then. It looks like Red just a little bit caught out then. Javier did move late to defend that move, but he's kept a hold of the race lead.
Yes, Red can kind of cling on to Javier in these technical sections, but it seems like down the straight, Javier kind of has him beat on the overall top speed, as Adam still hurrying and hustling Maxley through these corners, but Maxley catching up to Swami, who's also fell off the back of Joe Black, and Joe looking to try to catch up to GTS to mount a charge on him. But so far, these Mustang guys showing incredible early pace.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been in 8th place, but Joe Black in 6th, still with Adam Hofer, as he looks trying inside maybe as we now head towards turn 9 there. So right on the back of it. Also got Schwami up ahead. No doubt Mustang trying to chase him down. Once again, jump out with the battle for the lead. As Javier is still under pressure from Red then.
Oh, there's a problem with Bowie, I believe. Bowie has fallen off the pace, but as we go back on board, Javier has to let him through as he was there. And that is Red making the first overtake on Javier I think we've seen today, or well, seen all season actually. But I was going to say, I believe something's happened to Bowie because GTS has now marched himself up into 4th place, and Bowie has fallen even further back off of Cricker. And he tries to move. This will definitely be a little bit tricky. He knows he can make moves in these tight technical sections on some of the higher powered cars. As yes, he will try to make the move. Bowie looking down at the end of Sector 1, and he will take 4th place back from GTS. However, he definitely believes he should try to get a little bit further up ahead. Crazy in the pits now after an abysmal start from him. There's a huge battle there for 8th place. KTM versus Mustang versus Aston Martin. Slim Sign trying to... Ooh, he just gets absolutely cut off there by Adam. A little unsportsman there actually, but that has allowed Adam to get around the outside of Maxley. Maxley will have the preferred line, and Adam... Ooh, he makes it stick around the outside. Incredible. Ooh, there's contact with Maxley and Adam. A little bit of shoving going on there, and I'm sorry, that's not Slim Sign, that's Husa there, who was absolutely cut off by Adam. But this has allowed Husa to march right on the back of the Mustang here. You can just hear the torque power from the Mustang as it shifts up the gears up through the hill. Husa trying to get 8th place. He's side by side. Can he actually make the preferred move into turn 1? Yes, very late on the brakes. Husa will go and take 8th place away from Maxley.
It's a great move from Husa, more confident on the brakes then. And in that KTM, he's able to get the move done. Up to 8th place it goes, and again, it starts from 15th place, so good start for him. And we've actually got a battle here between Cricket and Bowie now. Of course, the Porsche we've already seen is good in a straight line, as that's a Ginetta there. I believe that's Julian now to move to the side. As you can see here, Cricket in the slipstream. The Ginetta just gets well out of the way. Sorry, it's Bowie in the slipstream of Cricket.
Oh, Cricket just gets it wrong. Yes, and that has allowed Bowie up the outside, and goes side by side into turn 10 here, although Bowie just kind of lets him go. He goes back for the switchback to see if he can get a move into turn 11. Cricker, I don't think, was expecting that. Caught completely off guard, and that has allowed Bowie up into the podium.
Watch out for Cricker on the straight. That Porsche looks quick in a straight line. GTS is also right behind. He'll benefit from a little bit of slipstream here. As we head now uphill, you can already see the Porsche dragging the KTM in, and with that straight line speed, he's already passed down the start finish straight towards turn 1. And watch out for GTS then, who's trying to go around the outside. KTM will try and go up the inside then, and Cricker then in the Porsche gets straight back past on the start finish straight. Straight line speed of the Porsche wins out against the KTM once again.
Indeed, Red starting to pull away from Javier, so oh, as Cricker slowed up, and that is unfortunate from Bowie, who had nowhere to go. Cricker, I believe, as he's got it wrong and he's hit Bowie again. That's just twice the karma there, but I believe Cricker was about to go off in the grass, so he needed to slow down. Bowie, unsuspecting of it, has hit him not once but twice, and that is definitely some probably engine damage off of Bowie, but I think Cricker might be able to escape without major incident. But this has allowed the Mustang of Joe Black to get into 4th place now, Schwami into 5th, and GTS will claim 3rd now. And Maxley now under attack from Cricker, who is trying to come back after his mistake, and he's also attacked from Adam behind him, and also Ryan behind him. Just battles going on everywhere around him.
Absolutely, it's been fantastic to watch so far, and with those mistakes then, it's been a little bit crazy for now, but you can see the Aston Martin of Croker here, right on the back screen. He now heads into turn 13.
Ooh, Croker's got it all wrong. He's in the gravel. And no, he's going to hit the wall. Oh, unfortunate there. That was just way too much power. He was probably getting a lot of dirty air from the Mustang, and that has not ended well for him. Luckily, he's right near the pit lane, so he could easily pit. But unfortunate there. Oh, unless he decides not to pit, actually. But what were we saying about GTS? That he needs to start pulling his weight? Well, he's up into the podium spot, and only behind his teammate, so...
Yeah, he's kept himself out of trouble, and it's paid off so far. 3rd place, and he has got Schwami behind him, around about 2 seconds back as well. As you can see, Joe Black and Husa still battling away for position. Husa still hasn't found a way past the Mustang, but with the Mustang, you can see him pulling away, even with Husa in the slipstream. Looks down the inside at turn 8. Sorry, turn 9, that is. But yeah, Husa, you can see then, falls back even more. So KTM is good in the technical section, but down the straight line speed of that car just seems to be working for him.
This isn't the first time Husa has encountered a wild Mustang, though. He knows how to work his way around these guys. Joe Black and Husa have met each other quite a lot on track, but as we see back on board of Bowie, who is starting to regain himself, actually. He's fallen back quite a bit, actually, after his incident. Surprised that he hasn't come into pit for anything major, so it might have just been some light contact on his hood. Nothing too major, but this has definitely made him susceptible to Joe, who has fallen down to 6th and is now under heavy pressure from Husa behind him. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how these guys try to conserve their stuff from here on out, because we're only on lap 9. It's a very tiring race from a personal perspective.
So, this must be frustrating. Even in the slipstream, the car ahead is still pulling away.
It's easy to catch up, but it's not easy to pass. You'll most likely stay behind and try to wait for an optimal opportunity, actually. But like I said, Husa has been one to be in the wars with the Mustang, so I suspect he knows his way around it, as yes, he will try to make a very slick move using the small and quickness of the KTM to try to get around the Mustang, but the Mustang with this top speed will pull alongside Husa going down into turn 1. Who will be later on the brakes? It looks like it's Husa, and it will be him up into 6th place, although he does go a little bit wide. It has to kind of brake himself a little bit, but that is Husa into 6th place after starting from 15th.
Quick there, got a little bit of red next to his name. That's a penalty that's been applied to it, so that's a 1 second penalty. You have to correct me if I'm wrong. So not the harshest of penalties, but has got that penalty.
As we go back on board these two, Red still just maintaining his gap over Red. He definitely thought he could pull away, but Javier, I believe, just keeping his Aston Martin clean right now. There's still plenty of this race to go. I think we might see something from these guys in the last couple laps.
Absolutely. And, well, I was a bit worried about Cricker. Way through, still 25 litres in the car. Remember, he started with 44, and nowhere near halfway through this race. I'm starting to fear that Cricker will actually have to come into the pits. And whether he can make that strategy work, whether he's able to make those newer tyres and lighter fuel roads work, well, he's 8th place right now.
Well, if you're going to make an aggressive strategy like this work, then you need to be consistent and fast. And just not what he has been able to do so far. He's dropped down to 8th after an okay start, actually.
He got caught up with Bowie as well, as we're heading now down to turn 4 now. Just the exit turn 4 is where it happened, and well, aggressive strategy like that also doesn't help when you get caught up. But it's a driver error from Cricket, directed Bowie too. Both of them able to continue on, and Cricket knows now that these laps before his pit stop have to count as he's catching onto the back of Joe Black.
Yes, he's going quite fast actually, so he can make up the time, but I'd say he's already wasted so much time doing what he has been doing so far. You see Husa now starting to get away from the competition a little bit. He's going to try to catch up to Bowie, who's not too far in front of him.
Carrying a lot more speed there. Turn 10, and then coming through turn 11, you can see that Cricket has the pace as he head towards turn 12 and 13. Right on board with him there. Double right-hander here. Will be in the slipstream. Cricket, we already know, is slipping in a straight line, and with the lighter fuel, we expect him to make this move.
Well, Joe's got the toe of Adam right in front of him, so it's not going to be easy, but he will look late on the brakes. He will go up the inside, and oh no, he's tapped the front of Joe, and that has gone worse, from bad to worse. He thought he had to move, but Joe, I think, was coming back inside, and the two of them just kind of collided a little bit. I believe it was just a racing incident there, no harm, no foul. But Cricker definitely not making his life any easier there. He's kind of costing himself a little bit.
Already he's still catching back up. That's also allowing Ruben there. It flows up to Cricker, and the more mistakes Cricker makes like that, the more he's caught up in those sort of scenarios, the better it is for the drivers around him. Because of course he needs to make these laps really count. Otherwise that pit stop is going to hinder him rather than help.
True. But so far as the field spreads out, so far it's been Red who took the lead really early into the race and is starting to pull a gap now on Javier. Unless Javier is saving his stuff, I think this might be Red's race to lose actually. GTS putting on an astounding performance, however. We know that we are the masters of jinxing performances, so I won't say anything more about what he's doing. Schwami doing his normal business in fourth, putting on an excellent effort as usual. Bowie, who's had some problems of his own and some more problems as he pulls a Tokyo drift. This would be the appropriate place. Oh, no, that's not how you Tokyo drift.
Talk about trying not to jinx anybody, but Bowie now on the inside of turn 4, turn 3. And, well, he won't want to watch that back on the stream as he's now dropped back behind his teammate and running so well there, up in 5th place, now all the way down to 9th.
I thought he was just showing off, but no, Bowie he's another one who just can't seem to pull off consistent laps, lap after lap, without something going wrong. He's now back behind Ryan Cricker. Can he actually try to make the move stick on Joe this time? He does have the preferred line going into turn 9, and he looks like he will get the move done before they get in. Cricker a little bit wide. That has allowed Joe to cut back inside, and he will have the outside. Well, I suspect Joe might let him go since he is on the preferred line. He does, and that is Cricker up into 6th place.
He needs to make those moves quickly. So Ryan Ruby now can put a little bit of pressure on the Mustang. We've seen the KTMs today lap that top end speed. You can see now right on his bumper as they head now up the hill, and that Mustang, that striking Mustang, up in 7th place. We can see there Ryan Ruby already starting to drop behind, and he does go 3/10 quicker than his best lap so far. He's got the pace for sure, but he's getting past the Mustang, which has the superior top speed.
As I was saying, continuing down the field, Husa, after starting in 15th place, is now up to 5th, doing quite an astounding job, pretty much acting as the best of the KTMs now. Cricker right behind them, who still has to make a pit stop. Not sure why he's taken so low of fuel, but he definitely thinks he can go a lot faster than this. Joe Black also doing a really good work for the Mustang team today. He's holding off the 2 KTMs of Ryan, who has had a solid day, definitely better than his previous performances, but he's looking for a little bit more. Bowie, who's trying to make up for his lost time now, definitely needs to get a move on. He was the fastest of the KTMs in practice and qualifying. Now he just needs to prove it, and that's Maxley, who has spun, and that has given up 10th place to Slimstein, who was just about to say, who also started decently but has found himself in the wars as well today. Crazy, another decent starter, has just found absolutely no luck and pace today, and it's all pretty much gone downhill for him and Adam, who were both involved in early incidents. All-Star, who started very impressive, one of his best qualifying positions, has not found any luck, and Julian is in last place, which round out your top 15. Alex could not make it here today. He has disconnected.
Look back at the results. Seeing all GTS he scored 12 points at Zhuhai last time out, so currently running in third place. Not bad at all for them so far. And let's see if we can find him. Yeah, you can see there's Shami just behind, looking to apply a little bit of pressure. And I was going to say about Krazer that, well, he might be running 12th place, but at least he's got enough fuel to get him to the end of the race, that's for sure.
True. Let's go back on board Joe, who's being hustled by Ryan here. It's definitely trying times for these guys, as the KTMs, they have the pace to get around him, but they don't have the speed, and that's just allowing Cricker and Husa to get away from these pack of guys. Bowie just has to sit back and watch his teammate kind of go at him. I'm sure he'd like to call team orders, but he definitely just has to sit back for now.
KTM's already dropping behind the Mustang. That must be so infuriating for the KTM drivers today. They know they're quick around this circuit, but aren't winning on the straights.
I mean, how often do we see a KTM behind a Mustang? I'd say we've seen this combination more than any other combination of cars. So, I'm pretty sure these guys are well aware as that's Ryan trying to make a move on the outside. Ambitious, but he tries to cut back, and I believe you'll just have to kind of sit back in as Joe tries to cut back to the inside, block him off. That'll mean Ryan have to go to the outside, although Bowie, also being impatient, he's just gonna nudge his teammate aside. He's saying, hey, I need to get the chance to try to fight this guy, and he steps right up into 8th. Ryan not exactly appreciating that, though. So these guys just not helping each other.
Absolutely. Here comes the KTM. Once again, we tried down the inside. He did think about it, but backed out of the move in the end. So Bowie now up to 8th place. And that is a red square next to Red's name. So he has got a one from somewhere.
Swami all trying to get onto the back of GTS, actually, or that's no, I believe that's Cricker catching up to the back of Husa. Yes, so Cricker has already made his way behind Husa, looking to make a move coming into turn 1, and yes, he will make the move just before turn 1. So Husa down into 6th, although we all know Cricker has to pit at least at some point.
Well, it's either no stop or one stop, isn't it? You can make that pit stop, take on a bit of fuel, keep yourself alight for the race, but you do cost yourself that time, changing tyres, fuel. Most drivers would prefer to just stay out.
True, pit stops not required in the GT4 series, however, we have seen some close calls with pit stops, as that's Bowie who has gotten around Joe in the technical section. And Joe trying to come back on the outside will be the last of the late breakers here. I believe that is Joe who will head around the outside of Bowie. No, Bowie is the late breaker and will keep ahead of him. So Bowie proving that at least he can get around the Mustang, but he's got in the dirt a little bit. That's not really going to help him.
Well, this is where the Mustang needs to keep his head up. heading through turn 12 and through turn 13. Oh no, here they'll have to slipstream, they'll have top speed as well over the KTM. It's just for Barry now to try and defend as hard as he possibly can. Here comes Joe Black up the hill. You can already see how much he's closing up now as we now head down towards turn 1 in that heavy braking zone. Who's going to be the last of the late breakers? Now he's going to have the inside line, and he holds on to the KTM, gets the advantage of the inside line, and manages to take the position away just off the screen there. That looked like Schwami has made a move on Cricket, and he has. And the Cricket's fallen a long way behind.
No, it was actually Cricker who had already made the move on Husa. Swami's actually trying to catch up a little bit to GTS.
And see, I could use the exclusive vision there.
Bowie.
Bowie runs a little bit wide. That might open up options for Joe Black then. He has to keep behind him towards the end of the second sector. He might have a chance again having to go down the inside of turn 1. Lap 18.
Bowie just yeah, Bowie just pushing everything, but we've seen that pushing just leads to despair, as could accidentally wheel hop off of one of the many treacherous curbs of this track. But he definitely needs to try to keep as much speed as he can going through some of these corners. He's more than aware of the Mustang speed. Will we see Joe Black be able to catch up again? It'll be a miracle if he actually can, but it wouldn't be impossible.
KTM having to go defensive as we head down towards turn 1. Again, he brakes late. Again, he's able to hold on. So good driving there from Barry. Great defensive driving. He's able to keep ahead of the Mustang once again.
Schwami has made his move on GTS through the technical section. So that is the Porsche of Schwami into 3rd place. GTS falling down to 4th place. So GTS just losing a little bit of pace there over time, but can definitely keep on the back of Schwami. Gets on the outside of the podium, but just approaching half race distance. This is far from over. Still on the back of that KTM, still trying to put the pressure on. Again, we've seen time and time again that as the straight line advantage, KTM's just been able to keep ahead. And once again, we head towards 12 and 13. Joe Black right on his tail. Again, the KTM's going to have to go defensive. Joe Black is going to have to think of something else to try. Well, he could always just go directly as far to the inside as possible, but I don't think Bowie's going to let him do that. Joe's more than content to try to at least just kind of provoke him a little bit, because Bowie's definitely losing time lap after lap having to defend like this. So I think Joe's just kind of more or less just kind of letting him know, hey, I'm still here. But Bowie definitely wants to get away as quickly as possible, but he knows that just isn't possible.
20 then of this race. That is Red in the lead of Javier. I believe Red has a 1 second penalty. Javier does not. That's crucial here. 2 seconds is the gap as we now go on to lap 21. 17 laps to go here at Sugo.
GTS actually on the back of Schwami, so you might be able to see him catch a little bit of the slipstream going up the hill. He was a little bit closer to him up in the technical section. We see no, not as drastic.
Still keep the gap and extending it a little bit. So GTS just has to stay on the back of that Porsche.
As there's Cricker in the pits.
Yep. Crew is out in the pit lane then, so this is a scheduled stop.
Oh, he's definitely looking for his pit box though.
We see his crew, but it's not always as crystal clear as that. Given the way in he comes. Let's see then.
So yes, this is technically a this is technically a scheduled stop for him, as he did take only around 40 liters of fuel. So this isn't unusual, but we will have to see how this plays out for him.
So we're leaving the pit lane for now, because we do of course have that battle between Joe Black and Bowie here. That is the KTM of Husa up ahead.
Yeah, so Husa has made a mistake somewhere, because he's now in the clutches of Bowie.
Absolutely. The orange and black KTM. Still on the side now too. Husa started P15 in this race, currently up to P5, but he's now under pressure from Bowie. I wonder if Bowie's just going to push him a little bit more and see what happens.
And as far as Bowie goes, he just keeps pulling up the Mustang of Joe Black right behind him, so it's not far off to say that Joe might be able to make a move on both of these guys. As you have a lap car, ooh, that was weird from Husa, obviously not happy at all. I think Ginetta just trying to let him go, but they don't know where he's going, and he doesn't know where they're going. So that was a little bit of a miscommunication there. And Joe Black now the next to the victims. Yeah, that was just a little bit of miscommunication there. They didn't know which way he was going, and he didn't know which way they were going.
Yeah, no doubt that the heart rate go up for the drivers behind him. It's always a bit scary when there's no communication. But it is Javier now within second of the car ahead. And that matters because, of course, Red, we believe, has at least a 1 second penalty. So this is all Javier needs to do. Whether he's been told it or not, this should be enough for him to win the race.
He's bowing now, reeling in Husa right in front of him. KTM versus KTM. Husa definitely the underdog KTM of these guys. Bowie, who's been at the helm, but you see Husa not being able to get the best of traction off these set of corners. Will he try to make the move here? This is the first time we've seen KTM versus KTM top speed, but Bowie just getting it a little too wrong, and yes, he has gotten on the grass and hard in the wall. Oh, we thought if you push too hard, you're not going to get anywhere, and that's exactly what has happened to Bowie. He pushed too hard again, and that has led him to nothing but despair. In the pits, and yes, he also has a speeding penalty. We definitely saw that. Too fast entering. So, not doing himself any favors.
It's such a shame for Bowie. You could see then the understeer was happening. He couldn't do anything about it. Once you get into that understeering phase, it just goes away from you. There's a lot you can do. Ryan Ruby, meanwhile, still trying to put some pressure on Joe Black. And obviously, he's seen his teammate do it, and he's probably thinking he can do it too.
Bowie was just trying to be persistent. He thought if he can keep behind Husa, then he can kind of make the move, but persistence sometimes doesn't pay off, as we saw him just get closer and closer towards the grass, and he felt the need to push it. So unfortunate, but that's what happens sometimes. As we go back on board with Ryan and Joe Black, Husa will remain in 5th place as he will start to try to pull a gap on Joe and the others. Well, this means that at least Bowie will be victim to Cricker, who is trying to also catch up.
Still in the slipstream of Joe Black. We've seen it before, we're seeing it again. The KTM just doesn't have the straight line speed to be able to keep up with the car in front of it. Turn 3, coming towards turn 4. It's the KTM still trying to put that pressure onto the Mustang. This is where he can do it through this technical section. You can see he's now close right up to the Mustang here as we head through the chicane. We've got turn 5 and 6 now up the hill towards turn 7. See now, again, Ron just trying to put that pressure on. He knows he can apply that pressure, but coming up now on the exit of turn 8, he's got to get this one absolutely right here. because this straight is only going to favour the Mustang. KTM, we've already seen today, is better on the brakes. And it's just a little bit too far away as we head down towards turn 9 to do anything about it.
They'll have to make the move in the technical section, which, speaking of making moves, Javier has found the pace to catch back up to Red. So either Javier's been saving his stuff or Red's been using his stuff. We don't really know for sure. But one thing we do know is that these guys are set to fight with around 13 laps to go here at Sugo. Although I believe Javier will make the sort of smarter judgment call, because I believe he knows that Red does have a penalty, in fact. Red, I think, also knows, but he's just not been able to pull out the pace. So Javier just kind of biding his time right now.
He's going to make his move. I would say it's going to be down towards turn 1. Getting out and up to turn 13. Porsche here, we've seen, has good straight line speed. See how he is closing very slightly as we get down towards turn 1. Then gap just increases once again, so the Porsche is probably one of the faster cars in the straight line here at this circuit. Aston Martin and Javier just keeping Red on his toes with 12 laps to go. Let's get some to the glass.
Yeah, a little bit there.
There's 2 battles that we have to keep our eye on. Camera can pick them up. There they are, Joe Black and Ryan Ruby. That's the battle for 6th place right now, and pretty close out on track. Of course, this is the battle for the lead then, and Red now to just try and defend the inside line as we now head down towards turn 9. Yeah, that Aston Martin is looming. We're just trying to pressure Red into a mistake here.
Well, these two are some of the most consistent drivers in the season, so I think Javier definitely just biding his time for now. But Red definitely needs to get a move on. I don't think he has the pace to do that, or the tires. But speaking of tires, there's quite a bit of debris on the track, so we suspect one of the drivers has hit some of those foam barriers there, as Ryan is in the pits. Speaking of drivers who might have hit things, I believe Ryan is in the pits for such an action. As he's coming down the pits now. So unfortunate, Ryan was battling Joe, and I believe he has hit the foam barriers in Sector 3. That has allowed Slim Sign to get back into 7th place. And now falls to Bowie and by extension Max Blee behind him.
Still applying that pressure to Red then. Battle for the lead is what we're watching with 11 laps to go, and this is not something we've normally seen, a battle for the lead, Cypher. It's a nice change of pace.
Well, it just shows competition's heating up. These drivers have now found what they can do with their cars, and now they're going to apply it. But obviously these two in a class of their own here today, Porsche versus Aston Martin, and Red versus Javier, 2 championship contenders so far. Red just gets quite in the grass, quite a bit actually, through the complex of 11 and 10 as he spun around, and Red, your leader, has hit the wall. Oh, that has not gone well for him. And I believe I've just jinxed him again, haven't I?
I think you have. He's not going to be very happy with you, but yet lost control of the car. Massive front bodywork damage as he makes his way towards the pit lane. You can see there that the tracking is off on that car as well. It's just steering left. That's all it wants to do. That's going to be a lengthy pit stop then for Red, and well, what a huge shame for him. You can see it crab as he makes his way towards the pit lane and pit box. What a disaster for Red. He was 7 points behind going into this race. He might be a bit more now, but Srami now is only just making his way around the final corner, so at least there's some solace there. Where will he rejoin? It's going to be a lengthy stop for Red.
Yes, we saw Red just was on the grass way too much in the turn 10 and 11 complex there, and believe just the grass and the tires made it just undrivable, and he was off into the walls quickly. That has elevated Schwami and GTS into the final podium spots. Red still in the pits. He's just now leaving. I don't think he'll have enough time to catch up, as he will come out behind Husa as well.
See where Husa is in the track, just making his way now through turn 2.
Or no, he'll stay in right in front. Just about.
Just about.
But he definitely needs to get a move on, because he still has a penalty. So even here, he's not safe.
Absolutely, and he'll be absolutely frustrated with himself for making that mistake, leading the race for such a long time as well. But, well, all Red, all he's got to do now is just make the most of this now. It looked like he didn't change tyres, no fuel, it was just damage repair. And you see how he does it. He's actually pulling away from Husa as well, as expected with the Porsche at straight line speed against the KTM.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but these things happen sometimes, even to the best of drivers. So far, everyone is starting to slot into their positions, albeit not where some of them would like to be.
And we're on lap 29 then. Correct me if I'm wrong, 9 laps to go. And Javier leads, then Schwami is in second place. GTS now back up into the podium positions. It's got a bit of a gap here to Red. Red has to sort of cut down that advantage, the 12-second advantage that GTS has over them. We've got any chance of claiming a podium today.
Yes, they'll definitely be pushing at the hardest, knowing the circumstances, but you've already seen drivers push quite a bit early today, so might see a bit of fatigue set in for a lot of these guys, actually.
GTS there has actually let through the back marker then. I'm just trying to figure out who it is. It's either Ryan or Bowie. I think it's Bowie. Nope, it's Ryan.
I was just about to say Bowie not really making any sort of progress after his pit stop, so definitely the one stop wasn't going to work for him today, but that has been compounded with all the mistakes that he's been involved in.
I think this is the sort of lesson for next time. Still running in 9th place though, maybe on some fresh tyres and a lower fuel car. Maybe he might now have the same fuel as the other drivers now at the end of the race, which is why that first stint mattered so much. But yeah, now 9th place, 5 seconds behind of Bowie. And it looks like for now, is where he's going to end the race.
Now, I don't want to jinx any of the other drivers, so I'll keep my mouth shut, although I have a hard time of doing that. So I'll just leave the state as it is.
I think that's the best for every driver. We don't want other drivers cursing. We don't want anyone cursing you, that's for sure.
Well, as long as they don't find out who's actually doing it, then I'm in the clear.
I mean, they're going to find out. They're going to watch the stream. They're going to be watching for interfering all the way outside. But Red is it's not been his day leading. But now you can see he's dropping away. He is closing the gap though to GTS. It has to be said.
Yes, he's cut that from about 3 seconds after his pit stop, so it's not impossible, but it's definitely the odds are against him. GTS just needs to get a move on.
See, there is the KTM user back marker who GTS I think actually let through. Wasn't interested in battling him at all. And you have around about 7 laps to go, 6.5 if you're picky, with Javier leading by 35 seconds.
Yes, it'll be smooth sailing from him after it looked like for a little bit he was just going to see some kind of harsh competition, but it seems like it'll be smooth sailing for him once again.
Yeah, and it must be so difficult when you've been leading a race for such a long time. You've been keeping a championship rival behind you for such a long time, but you make that mistake, lose the back end into the wall, and you could see that car coming into the pit lane.
Oh no, no.
Again.
Oh dear. That's what happens when you push too hard, and Husa goes back up into 4th place. Heavy front end damage there. We thought he could at least make up for it by getting a podium, but those hopes might as well be dashed out now. You've seen it here first, folks. Oy, disappointing.
Yeah, absolutely, and again, that car seems to be sort of tracking to the left ever so slightly. As we put off red, coming towards these corners again, he might have to pit, and again, it's going to be a lengthy pit stop. It's going to put him further down the field, and he's lost it again.
Oh, and there's the hood going off this time. Oh, that's quite a bit of debris there on the track. I hope no one runs over that. Well, I speak of the devil. That's Joe who runs over that.
Well, it has not been his day at all, has it? How everything has changed in the space of 6 laps.
Well, it was his day up until 6 laps ago, but it's turned into a nightmare now.
Absolutely, and I think that was Adam there, but anyway, got Fraser there in the 11th place.
Oh no, that's Slim Sign ahead, who's been elevated up into 6th place now. Husa, Husa up into 4th, and Joe into 5th place.
That's also Adam coming into the pits as well.
This will mean
another pit stop.
And this means Bowie will pass him as well as Cricker. So Bowie moving up into 7th place, and Cricker moving up into 8th. My, how the state has changed.
Absolutely, and well, what could pave the way here for GTS? He was being caught by Red there towards the end of this race, but this could be the first time this season that the 2 Aston Martins of, I believe,
Javier and GTF.
Yeah, the HRT team, what they're called, and this could be the first time this season they're both on the podium.
Well, let's not jinx it.
I mean, if anybody's jinxed anybody today, it's you. So.
Well, I mean, there's still time. There's still plenty of time left. I mean, the absolute worst that could happen is that someone disconnects here, but I'm not actually calling for that, I'm just saying.
Well, Javier makes the climb up the hill, and he will start lap 34. We'll have 4 laps to go, and well, around about 7 laps ago, we were sort of thinking this would be a great battle for the lead. But, well, normal service has resumed, it seems, for Javier, who leads now by 35.
Ooh, Slim Sign in the pits. Ooh, I wonder what that's for.
That car looks like it's traveling ever so slightly.
It's maybe Slim Sign, who has been kind of marketing off everyone making mistakes, has made a mistake of his own, and that will promote him back down to 7th. Bowie and Cricker will pass him, as well as most likely Maxley as well, so Slim Sign was set to take advantage of everyone's mistakes, but it seems like he's been involved in one as well.
And as you were saying, it's a track you need to keep your concentration for, and for some of these drivers here, they haven't been able to do it. But as Javier now makes his way down towards turn 9, he's got that back marker behind him. And I wonder if he's just sort of thinking, well, I might as well let you go.
That's not Javier's style. Javier's style is to drive away from everyone and everything.
Looks like he's doing just that as he heads into turn 12 and 13. Slim is still in the pits. In fact, he's just left his box now. And, so he does lose that position to Red, of all people.
Yeah, that's a Red actually who's trying to unlap himself from Joe Black. I was just about to say Maxley, who had also been in kind of a world of his own, was also letting or no, that's Ryan getting his lap back from Maxley. So no one right now is in a major battle. It's just the faster guys are getting their laps back from their earlier incidents.
Lap 35 of 37, 3 laps to go. As you can see, we're Javier making his way into turn 8. 37-second lead, and I think he's just taking his foot off the throttle a little bit now, cruising to the finishing line, and why not?
I think that's kind of everyone's motto after the race we've had today. The only thing I could maybe see is maybe if Bowie makes another mistake, then Cricker will be right on the back of them. We're not quite sure how much of a penalty Bowie has, because he definitely was speeding down pit road. That's at least a 10-second time penalty. So he is very much susceptible to Cricker. We'll have to see if he can at least pull out a gap.
Oh, Fraser there. At least he's got, saves it from last time. He's got enough fuel to get to the end at least. I would say 7.8 litres of fuel, and we have on the board, well, we will have 2 laps to go, so that should be able to get into the end of the race, surely.
Indeed.
Well, I mean, we've had some battling early on in this race, and all the drivers have spaced themselves out now, so you know, if there's any chance of battling, they'll be on the last lap. But Javier now making his way up towards 7 and 8. I think, to be honest with you, we've had a really good race, and unfortunately for Red, he lost the back end and hit the wall, and that's robbed us of a great battle for first place.
Yeah, most definitely. Arguably one of the best races of the season so far from a pure competition standpoint. You've seen how good all these guys can do when they got their heads down and they can actually kind of compete with one another. It's been the one race Javier hasn't been able to completely outsweep the field. So Sugo's been able to put on a good show for us here today.
Absolutely. He makes his way now down the hill towards turn 12 and 13. And he now makes his way up the hill, and once he crosses that start-finish line, he'll be starting the final lap of the race here at Sugo. And well, it hasn't quite been plain sailing for him today. He was running second for a majority of this race. Lost the lead early on to Red. Well, Red made that mistake around about 10 laps ago now. But Javier now starts the final lap of the race in the lead, 38.9 seconds. And since that mistake from Red, he's been in control ever since. And his teammate GTS in 3rd place. It could be the first podium of the season for both drivers of the HRT team.
Schwami doing what he does best, which is staying out of trouble. And although he wasn't able to stick around for much of Daytona, he's certainly here in full force. It looks like he's going to finish second here today, capitalizing on all the mistakes around him. And as you said before, it seems like GTS is finally going to break his unlucky streak by getting a podium here, at least shutting us up for now. Husa, who has made up at least 11 spots, which is just downright insane to think about. But if there was a track where he could do such a thing, it would be here. He looks like he will finish 4th. Joe putting on an absolute astounding performance in the Mustang, will be the highest place for him or any Mustang. Bowie, unfortunate for him as well, but right now it is Javier coming out of 12 and 13. He'll definitely take it, although he probably didn't expect to win like this. But right now your winner is Javier, who wins here at Sugo.
Flashing his lights, celebrating, and extends his lead at the top of the table. Let's see if we can see Schwami here in 2nd place, and well, he's only got a couple of corners to go, and he'll be getting that podium. And what a day it's been for him. As he said, so he's kept out of trouble this time. He may not have had the perfect race in Daytona, far from it, but it's been a pretty good day for him. And well, finishing just under 40 seconds behind Javier. Makes his way now up the hill and towards the start finish line, and he will be taking 2nd place here at Sugo. It's been a good day for him. A good amount of points as well. He flashes lights. He's happy with that. He finishes in second place. And meanwhile, to round off the podium will be the second HRT team car of GTS. He makes his way across the line. It's his first podium of the season. He'll be absolutely ecstatic with that one. Who's to then, starting from P15, will finish in fourth place. A great race from him. And as we're saying, Cypher, Joe Black will be the highest finished Ford Mustang in the GT4 season so far, as he makes his way up the hill now to take fifth place. He's happy with that. Flash of the lights as he crosses the line now, and that is Cricker then. He has already taken the checkered flag. So there is your result then. Javier wins there from Schwalmy in second place, GTS in third place. And yeah, Bowie did have a 10-second penalty. Red did have a 1-second penalty. Cricker a 2-second, but I don't think that affected. In fact, it did. So Bowie demoted to 7th place. Cricker moving up to 6th after those penalties.
Yes. As you look down the field, actually, Ryan had a 2-second penalty, and All-Star had an 11-second penalty. But all in all, a very, very intriguing race from our perspective. We hope that you all enjoyed it as well. I think that was thoroughly enjoyable.
Absolutely. Remember as well, there is a week break. We're not racing next week, but we will be back on the 27th of March, and we hope you'll join us for then.
Right, so once again, it has been me, Cypher Knight, here showing the GT4 series at Sugo with my partner here.
And that's me, Kieran McGinley.
And we hope to see you all in 2 weeks' time here in the GT4 series. Thank you, and good night.